It's just loading on YouTube. I'm just giving it a minute. It's just loading on YouTube. I'm just giving. Okay. It has a delay on YouTube. All right. So I'm going to share this screen, my screen, and we see what do we have to talk about today. So again, you're mute for now, but feel free to send a chat. Let me share my screen. All right. So guys, hopefully you all are settled with basically doing your project, which means you have managed to contacted your basically group members. Again, either they have answered or they have not answered. Don't stress too much. Whoever has answered and has become in contact, just work with them and just continue with people who are available. The ones who are not available, if they become available on the way at some point, then they can still join you. But then at the end, you basically score their contribution. So they can't get basically free ride. So you will be scoring them at the very end about what they have done and what's basically, their contribution is. So don't worry about that. And if they don't join at all, then they obviously are going to go down to 0 contribution. So yeah, start your work with whoever is available. And I will tell you a little bit of more notes. But again, in the meantime, you're mute simply because it gets too noisy, So feel free to chat. I'm trying to see where my chat box is, although I always set it to stay on top. It tends to hide. Sorry, there are a lot of little things like in this setting that is really hard, although I really set it to happen automatically. It doesn't do that, but anyways, we are doing it. Okay, so today it's about obviously week 4. Week 4, it was lighter than all other weeks that we have had. So we had like one combined lecture and exercise lab. It was mainly about linear regression model. So I introduced and I went through a little bit of more details about simple linear regression model. I'll show you like in an R Markdown file very shortly after this slide. And also I'll introduce to you multiple linear regression models. So if you're asking, is multiple linear regression model something that we have to we're going to be asked about it in the final exam? So I would say that was for your own knowledge to understand that it's not just having one X in the regression model, like it's not just analyzing effects of one X on Y, like for instance, effects of height on shoe size. You can have more than one X in the model. Like for instance, we had height and age, for instance, effects of those on shoe size. But in this course, we'll be basically examining you at the very end only for a simple linear regression model, which with only one X in the regression model. So that was just to complete the topic of regression modeling for you. So I'll show you in a second. So that was the lesson we got, and you have only one combined video on Canvas. And again, I repeat that, please feel free to send a text whenever you feel like you have to say something until I unmute you to ask your questions. So I just go a little further. I keep going out because I want to see your chat here. It's very funny that, yeah, I set it to come up, but it just doesn't listen. Okay. So, basically that's what we did. And for quiz 4, it's really based off the materials of lecture 4 and exercise lab 4, which were combined. So if you actually just read it carefully and do it carefully, you can get full mark for this quiz. It's based off the materials we learned in the week. And feel free to email me. If you have emailed me and you're still waiting for an answer, I'm doing my best. I'm answering every day. So sometimes just I get a lot of emails and it takes maybe 1 or maximum 2 days to get back to you. So just be patient, I will answer. If it's urgent, maybe put an urgent title so that I can see that's urgent. Otherwise, it takes like 24 to 48 hours to answer all your questions. Thanks for your patience. So about project 1, I wanted to point something about EdPosts. I see like I get some repetitive questions. So I was like, just to make your life easy and our life easy, I just want to highlight follow EdPosts, like have a quick look whenever some new posts come out. It's very likely that's going to answer a lot of your questions. So just quickly, let's have a really quick look at this EdPost here that was about project 1. So this was a very useful post because we had thousands of questions about group members who are not answering. So again, the important points are all highlighted here. So basically, first of all, it was about how to communicate. So we are recommending Canvas, Zoom, and email, but then it's up to you. But when I say it's up to you, it means that it's up to your group. So you can't force them to have, a way of communication that they don't prefer. So you have to agree what's the best for your group. So if you can't reach group members for an extended period, go ahead without them. I just said it, right? And then if you can't reach all 3 and you're basically alone, so if you're alone, then you also have an option again. So if you are happy continuing alone, then perfect. If you're not happy continuing alone, reach out and we'll match you with another group who is also missing a member or 2. So make use of the drop-in sessions. So there are lots of drop-in sessions and we have all these professionals. Basically, they have said they're available and so they have set all these classes ready for you. Just go or just make a Zoom appointment and ask your questions. Don't feel embarrassed to ask. Well, it's just, if you have a question, just feel free to reach out and ask your questions. For instance, it's better you ask us than your, group member or your friend. So ask us, email us, send on it, make a Zoom appointment, go in person, make sure you know the answer to your question. Okay, and there was another post also for project 1. So this is all the notes about what to do, how to start, how to submit. So obviously they're all on Canvas. So what I wanted to show you, so on Canvas, under project, it tells you how to submit your work, right? So this is Canvas. And you might see like, yeah, it's under files, but I'm actually on home. If you go on home, under projects. So I'm under projects and it is basically, it says submit a HTML produced in RMD. So, and put your student ID on top. So this basically clarifies, because they were asking like, so how to submit. So you have to do both your writings and your codings all on our Markdown file. So everything on Markdown file, and then at the end knit it and create an HTML file, and that's going to be, so when part of the project is telling you word limit, you have to write it, obviously. So that's a word limit, along with our commands and our coding related to that we have learned in the materials. So we're not expecting you to do again anything out of the materials. But what you're expecting, you're basically, we're not expecting that. So again, what we're expecting you do just what we have done in the materials. But I was told by one of the students or two that they want to do a little bit more cleaning in their data, and it requires more than what we have learned in the materials. So then I was like, okay, so that's going to be part of your data cleaning, part of your contribution to the data cleaning section of your project. So that's fine. But we are not expecting you to do that. So you can just focus and basically learn what we have learned in the materials and practice that in your project. But if you really like to do something, you know, more perfect and more complete, if you feel so, and you need more methods to, for instance, clean your data, yeah, go ahead and use those extra methods for cleaning your data. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to point out that all details you need are on Canvas. This is again on home under project. And one more thing about project, and then I think it should be fine. I'm trying to check your messages. So let me just check your messages. So you're talking to each other, I see. Well, maybe it's fine. But yeah, just to confirm and clarify, in the final exam, simple regression is only being, yes, simple regression is only being tested. Do we have recording for this revision? Yes, you will get a video for revision class. Where are the group members list? You should basically have access to this. We answered this question. So do you mind to post this question on 8, and we'll get back to you, or your student friends, they're gonna get back to you. They know how to do that. Okay, this is on your end. You see more details than I see. So can you post this question? Where are the group member lists on 8 to get help? They are on Canvas. Go to, someone is answering. Go to groups and click on the group. Then go to people and you see the member list. Good. I cannot find last week's recording. Is it last week's recording? I was just explaining. It's combined. In last week, you mean like this week or last week? I think it's available. So I can show you really quick. So you go to basically recording lectures. So you should have for basically week 3. So for the and week 4. So for week 3, we did like a descriptive statistics and basically regression line. So this descriptive statistics and regression line is for week 3. And for week 4, you have regression line 2 and exercise lab 4 is a combined video for week 4. All right, let me quickly go through. Will our assignments end up also including the data itself? What if it's very large data file? Can you post this on it? We'll get back to you. Anyone is group 100 okay? Do we need to submit the data we found as well? Good question. Can you post this? Can you post this on it? I will answer this question on it. Okay. I've got to check how more details about submission, but we want only basically your HTML file. We want only your HTML file. Is coding part of the work count? Well, obviously yes. Well, you mean word count or word count? So word it's only words. So when we say 500 words, it's not like a formula. It's not R codes. It's word is what you write as explanation. The coding is mainly for graphs. Well, that was an answer to it. Okay, yeah, so about missing members, I said, don't worry, just continue without your missing members. They will join you and you can score them low for contribution because they joined late. So, okay, let me continue what I was talking about. In the final exam, you will test, okay. Who is, okay. They're looking for each other. So don't worry, guys. If you're not finding some members, just don't worry about them. Just start your work. Don't stress about finding them if that's okay with you. So it should be okay because it's not a really hard project, as you notice. It's mainly what you have learned so far in your own data file. Okay, so let me just continue. And then I'll unmute you after we get to halfway through. All right, so I just wanted to show you the ed post I did. And again, I'm stressing you, please check the ed post. It's gonna answer many of your questions. Many of your questions are gonna be answered on ed on daily basis. So guys, we're gonna have a look at the R markdown for this week. So I'm writing it here. So we're gonna have a quick look at the R markdown on this week. And I have a very little tiny thing to highlight about the regression line that, for instance, I didn't mention in the video. So we have that. And then I am repeating a few points that I have repeated already in the previous video as well. I want to always make sure to tell you, make sure you're reading the correct data file, and I want you always make sure you have set the working directory from inside the RStudio. So make sure you set your working directory from inside the RStudio to make sure you read the correct data file. And then I'm saying, please feel free to just learn whatever you don't know about R in R. That's what I do. That's what everyone does. So use the question mark and use a double question mark, for instance, for things that don't come up with one question mark. So one of them was line type. We practiced in previous class. So line type LTY, we did question, and then we learned about it. So learn about R in R. And to continue, guys, about the quiz. Quiz 4, I said it's based off what we have learned in the lecture and exercise lab. So it's going to be really simple. It's nothing out of it. So if you read the materials and you practice them as we practice in Lock R, you can answer all the questions. Nothing out of it. So read that, practice that, do the quiz, you'll get the full mark. Okay, so again, be familiar with the correct commands in R. So understand them so that you can pick the wrong or right ones. So about project 1, I showed you already on Canvas under projects. One thing I wanted to add extra on project. So I went on Canvas, right? I basically minimized this. I went on Canvas and I showed you where to access the project. So let me do it one more time. So basically we go to home and then we go down to weekly to project. I really like the weekly tasks I go to every day. So I go to projects and there are all the links you want, right? So for instance, project 1 HTML, that's where you have a lot of important notes there. I just was pointing out how to submit your basically work, etc. I scroll down. So again, I'm on Canvas under the projects. So marking criteria is very helpful. So maybe many of you have seen it, many of you have not seen it. So it's important. I just wanted to highlight this. So marking criteria, click on marking criteria, the link there. Either it's a link or you can copy paste it, put it in a browser. So I just clicked on it and it worked. So if you go down, this marking criteria gives you a lot of, clarity. So this is where you find out the 200 words. So when it says 200 words, it's just the explanation, like that's the words. So again, our coding is not words, okay? So along with the R coding related to that, as far as we have learned and we have practiced. So again, nothing more than what we have practiced. So again, these are the criteria you can just follow. And again, don't stress too much. Just if you understand like what idea is and what we have done, just basically replicate and, come up with some good contributions and use your own data. Okay. So the reflections are made on a Spark class only, right? Yes, so feedback for your group members are always just on the Spark Plus. So that's on your end. You see a lot of Telstar. I don't even have an account, but you have to basically go there and get it done. And again, for Spark Plus, you don't have to prepare anything. That's nothing that you have to go now and get prepared. It's just that at the very end, when you finish, you just go to Spark Plus and score each other, give explanation of each other's contributions, which is fair. We need that, right? Because it's a teamwork. So no complexity. We like simple but clear, but something that we see, we understand, you have learned the topic, and we see clearly, we don't get confused. So even like nice professional papers like out there, it's all about simplicity and clarity. So what you do needs to be simple, clear, and covering what we have done, and using your own data. So just be simple and clear, and just come up with some interesting outcomes. So these details are on Canvas, guys. Please go on Canvas under home, projects, and read the details. Everything is there, deadlines are there. And I just pointed out as well, last time I showed you this. Please read this project on 8, project 1, and project more clarifying comments. This covers all your questions. Okay, all your questions, as you just were talking about deadlines. Deadlines are highlighted here, so that's gonna be good. Okay, so enough talking about that. 2 questions. Some of the students asked questions. I just answered this, and then we have a look at our markdown file for this week. So they were asking this. I just already highlighted it. So they were asking about submitting their work. So you're gonna end up submitting an HTML file. So you do everything on your R markdown file and gather all the project on R markdown file. When word limit is given, you must write in words. That was actually some of you just texted as well. Okay, and about the materials, they were asking about like sample mean as a balancing point. So they were like, what is that? So there was a part in one of the lectures in the past. That was just simply referring to this simple rule of, do you know this like simple mathematics about sigma, or summation of observations, if I say xi, because values for x are changing. For instance, x is this, xi, and I basically is, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 observations. I is 1 to 4. When I say I mean values for variable x is changing. That's why I have subscript I. So I have values for xi, and then I get average for x, right? I get average for my xi. So I'm using average function. Basically, I'm adding all the observations divided by 4. So I'm getting the average. And then every single observation, like every single observations of x minus average, I'm creating x minus average, basically xi minus average xi. So average xi we just found it is 5. So that's a, let's say, x bar to be professional. So I'm gonna call it x bar and clear. So that's my average. And then I'm doing basically xi minus x bar. And again, xi minus x bar, xi minus x bar, xi minus x bar. And then I'm adding these, and then I'm getting like 0. So this is like a based off the symmetric, basically properties of a standard normal distribution. Like I just randomly selected that and it works. So that was just, it was talking about that values below average and values above average are going to cancel each other out in one of the lectures. Like I have the lecture, I think, open here. I just wanted to answer that, what that means. So it was in one of the lectures, slide number 17, it was about sample mean as a balancing point. So I just wanted to say, like when it says the sample mean is the unique point at which the data is balanced. the higher readings and the lower readings all cancel each other out, then that's the case. So if they don't cancel each other out, is sometimes it's because of the distribution or in not having a basically perfect complete sample. That's because of that. But what it means in this sentence, that's this simple example I just pulled out here. All right, so let me check your messages and then they're kind of chatting, it's fine. Portion of project one. So I was saying you write everything in our markdown file. You write and you do the coding and writing in our markdown file. Like for instance, I use the our markdown file for this week, week 4. I have shared it for basically lab 4, exercise lab 4. The exercise lab for our markdown is basically the lecture our markdown, because they are combined for this week. You need to work on such a R markdown, so you have writings and you have codings all at the same time. You can use it to basically write in it if you like, or you already have our markdown template given in your project. All right, do we need to write them? Yes, or look, this is the answer for you. Project 1 is for you, and you have to answer it to the best of your knowledge. So you have to read the materials and you have to answer the question to the best of your knowledge. All right, okay. So maybe I feel like I finished this as well, and then unmute you to not to lose a lot of time. And then so we're going to be relaxed. I just unmute you and you ask whatever you want to ask. You just write down your questions and then I'll unmute you like in like 10 minutes or so. Okay. So let's just have a quick look at what we did this week. It was a very simple, basically our markdown file. I believe it was simply to give you some break as well, because you are working on the project. So it kind of made it, I guess, simpler for you to have a combined lecture and exercise lab to just practice the topic and give you the R commands at the same time, and so decrease the amount of time you have to spend watching the videos as well, everything together. Okay, but it's going to be separate for the next weeks. It's going to be separate lecture and separate exercise lab videos for the next weeks. So this data that you're very familiar with, we read this data, .csv, which I suggest, basically this is like a way we have been practicing to read the CSV files, and then basically having a look at like the first 6 rows, just, simply to see what do we have. Like we have international, gender, height, shoe size, age, language, etc. And then getting the scatter plot. So we got the scatter plots one by one. So Y as an vertical axis again, X as horizontal axis. So you can't change that. So we want Y on vertical axis and X on horizontal axis. And then, yeah, if you basically you have to do the data cleaning, obviously. You can get rid of that, but I didn't, because we want to look at everything. We want to look at all the data we have. So, and then we also did a scatter plot for another variable, age. So we focused on basically shoe size as a dependent variable, and we selected 2 explanatory or independent variables, which were height, which makes sense. So the taller, we said, can have significant effects on shoe size, the bigger feet maybe. But about age, it really depends which group of people you're looking at. So at some certain age, we don't, our feet doesn't grow anymore. So all this background knowledge and common sense basically helps you to choose a right variable. So I would choose interesting variables. I would choose variables that actually have some interesting, significant effects on each other. So maybe, for instance, I would definitely make sure that I'm looking at the right group age here, which is fine here. Like we are looking at younger than 10 years and, you know, maybe anything lower than 15 years we are looking at, which is a fine group of age basically, to see effects of that on shoe size. So that's where basically they're growing on daily basis maybe, or monthly basis. Okay, so the point was we did scatter plot those two separately, and then we said, okay, so here you go, because I was getting emails that, okay, so how this regression looks like, because we were like using this LM, the linear model, and then we were estimating like this. So we were saying, okay, this is my model, linear model, y tilde x1. This is basically, I'm estimating my regression model, which is this, using OLS estimation method. That's what it's doing. So model, I'm naming, you can just say, you can just don't name it. You can just use LM in the bracket, y tilde x1, and you're gonna analyze effects of x1 is height here on y shoe size. And that's it. So actually, if you want to do that, like just remove the basically model. You can like remove the summary as well, just to keep it simple. So look, this is the outcome. As simple as is, you get estimated intercept and you get estimated slope coefficient. This is effects of height on shoe size. So it's like 1 centimeter higher, this much shoe size is going to be bigger. So you are running OLS estimation method and you are estimating this model having data for y and x1, having data like in my data file. If I clean this up, so I go back, read my data here. So just to be nice and clean. So basically I have data for, this is my dependent variable, shoe size, and height, this is my x1, explanatory. So I have data for these two variables, which are these. I have data for y and x1. This is my model. I just wrote it down. I just typed it down to understand it. And then I am also defining, this is like typing in R, right? I'm just defining, I've created body, and then I'm just defining my variables. I'm saying y is dependent variable, and then I'm saying beta 0 is intercept, beta 1 is a slope coefficient, x1 is regressor, u is error term. So I have written my model and I've explained all bits of it. And then here I'm estimating it. I'm estimating this regression model. Here is the outcome. So just to make it simpler and get more details in the future when we are hypothesis testing, we also practice this to basically name this a model. So I'm assigning model. I'm saying, so what is my model? My model is this, which is this. And then I'm saying, okay, summary of the model after I estimate it. This summary means it's going to give me a lot of details about every single estimated parameter. So when I say estimated parameters are beta 0 and beta 1. So they're going to be estimated, right? So like beta 0 is this, beta 1 is this. And then I have the standard error for them. I have the t-values and p-values. These details, we're going to use them for hypothesis testing coming. All right. Okay, so we are not working with it now, but we did practice it in the lectures. Okay, let me quickly go to your chat. And then after I finish one more thing, I'll unmute everyone. Let me see what you say. Is the x and y axis label wrong on the first scatter plot? Are they? Let me see. First scatter plot, this one. So y is shoe size. It's correct. So y is shoe size. Horizontal axis height is x. And the next one, again, shoe size and age. Maybe if you have this as gender, maybe it was revised after you have downloaded it. Sorry about that. Yeah. So sometimes there are some little things that I revise at the very last minute. Maybe, you know, that was like, so I just noticed, I noticed I had written gender. So I just basically revised that. I typed the right variable there. All right, use the revised one. They're on Canvas. Okay. So what it means to be plot x1, y. Did we have that? So we do the scatter plot and we estimate a regression line. I don't know which part you're talking about. Did we do that? My brain. Oh, so here we are scatter plotting it. So we are scatter plotting dependent variable, vertical axis, and horizontal axis. That gives us this. So this helps us to see relation between x and y. So this is basically, I'm calling age x2, this is my choice. And I'm defining it. I'm saying x2 is age. I'm calling age out of the data file. Okay, so these little basic things you have to take care of. So I'm calling age as x2. You could just don't call it anything. You could just call it age. So to make it simple, we usually better to choose some symbols, right? Why can't it be the other way around? You're going to see a different thing. In regression analysis, it's very good question. In regression analysis, that's how it's programmed, and that's how the theory works. So in regression modeling, where is the model? Here. So dependent variable must be to the left-hand side in the model. So if my dependent variable is to the left-hand side and I'm looking at effects of x on y, so it just makes more sense. You practice it yourself and see if you're getting the same outcome. To have the this is going to be your project to learn something. So you can do it the other way around. And what we are basically looking for, we are seeing for effects of x1 on y. And that's how we can basically get a clear picture of it, having the independent variable on the horizontal axis. But yeah, good question. You can, some things are just for you practice it, and also they have coded it and they have programmed it, and that's how it works mathematically. What are significance? So the significance, I think you're referring to the summary we got. We are not interpreting it here. So this summary model is just something for future. Basically, all these details that we are getting down here, apart from the estimated intercept and estimated slope coefficient, everything else we'll be discussing in the future. So where is that significant? Here. So these are significant levels. So significant levels are levels that we will compare p-values, these ones. These are p-values of test statistics. Don't worry about it now. We have not learned it. So these are p-values of the test statistics. For instance, this is p-value of the test statistic, which is t-statistic of the intercept. Then I compare these with significance level. Significance level usually is given to you. Usually we say it's 5%, or we give you anything else. We say significance level is 10%. So significance level is something that is given to you, and you compare it with p-value of your test statistic. If p-value of the test statistic is less than the significance level, we are in the rejection region, we reject the null. This is a rule. This works for any tests, for f-test, t-test, for any analysis hypothesis. So if p-value of the test statistic is less than the significance level, for instance, 5% significance level, we reject the null, and we are in a rejection regime. What does it mean? In the future, you learn rejecting the null means that this has significant effects on a dependent variable. So this is less than also 5% significance level. I am rejecting the null of the hypothesis I've made. I will explain this in the future to you. And that means that shoe size, that means that height has significant effects on shoe size. This is the effects of height on shoe size. And this being less than 5% significance level, it means that height has significant effects on shoe size. So don't worry about that. I will teach you this in the coming future. To finish this, what we are discussing here, and also I was saying, we did have a look at the multiple linear regression model. This is for you. It's just that you can have more than one X in the model. We are not gonna put this in your final exam or anywhere else. This was for you to learn that, for instance, this is another command in the future. If you want to analyze two X's, effects of two X's on Y, you're gonna have Y tilt X1 plus X2, for instance. X1 is height, X2 is age here. So, and then you can just use the same linear regression model and estimate this. So this is going to be your intercept, coefficient of X1, coefficient of X2. Okay, and one more thing, like after you estimate a model, you could do that for the simple linear regression model as well, just to learn the command. I wanted to, if you want to write nice. So on the lecture notes, instead of hats, I had hat behind each. So I wanted to tell you, if you want to, put some nice, basically formulas down in your, for instance, work that you're doing, you could do it properly. So like you could use hat argument here and basically have your, as you see, like if I basically, where did we go to make the size bigger? Appearance, like 14. Is it gonna be too big? Okay, oops. Okay, so you can use this basically, you can use this hat. You can use this hat and put the basically Y in the brackets and get Y hat just to type. This is just one simple thing, maybe better than me, many more details. So you use your own basically little things to make your report nicer. Okay, let me see your chat box. Well, the first one is going to give you the vertical axis, and the vertical axis is your dependent variable. So you choose. So whatever your dependent variable is, put it as the first value in the bracket, variable in the bracket. First scatter plot. Your questions, guys, you're going to ask a clear question. Isn't it the other way around? That's how I explain the scatter plot. If you have further question, post on it. I will show you more examples and more explanations. I think the height and shoe size might be mixed up in your plot function. Height and shoe size. Why? So have a quick look what they are saying. So look, I'm saying Y is shoe size, and I'm saying, let me go to the single one. That's what I like to practice more. So here, Y is shoe size and X2 is age. Oh, you're saying maybe my data file is mixed up. That's another story. I can check that later. But this is how you write it down. If you're finding effects of age on shoe size, then that's how you'll be doing it. You have the shoe size first, and then you have the age second. If anything wrong in my data file, I should be looking at my data file later. But that's how you should be coding it. Okay. I'm pretty sure that the scatter plot should be there. Well, what do you mean? If you have any further questions, just post on it. I'll explain further. Okay. Scatter plot depends. What is your dependent variable in the model and what is your independent variable in the model? We consider the dependent variable on the vertical axis, and we consider the independent variable on the horizontal axis. That's it. Okay. So you have to see what's your model, what is your dependent variable, and what is your independent variable. So yeah, maybe my data file, I'm gonna look at my data file if you have any question about like making a sense out of it. I'm gonna look at it now. By data, we do summary model. Maybe type your questions a little more clear. To get back to data, we do summary model. So summary model, I said this is for future. Don't worry about that. That is for when we want to do hypothesis testing. We need all those t-tests and p-values. I just talked about significance level and p-value. Don't go there. That's a lesson. That's a separate lesson. So any questions like that you have, if you go to drop-in sessions, they will help you. They will help you with that. So linear regression in our assignment should just be simple learning. Yes, simple linear regression in your assignment. Good question, guys. Yes, focus on simple linear regression model in your project, or you're calling it assignment. I'm still confused about homoscedasticity. Homoscedasticity, your model, this y equals intercept plus. So let me explain you homoscedasticity. Homoscedasticity is, if this is your model, you have observations for it, right? You have observations for y, you have observations for x1. This model, you have variances for each values. For x and y, you have variances and you have distribution line. Look at here. You have this, for instance, kind of, for instance, 3D shape that if x's are on horizontal axis and then y is on vertical axis, right? Then just look at this like that, like I'm trying to create a 3D shape. So look, if this is like a 3D shape, for every single value of x, you're going to have a value of y and you're going to have a distribution line. So which means, look at here, if for instance we have a standard normal distribution, then distribution lines are like that, right? Distribution lines are like that. If basically spread of these distribution lines is constant in this sample, it means that for every single value of x, you have a value of y, and then the distribution line is not changing. If this spread of the observations under these distribution lines is not changing, right? Is that the variance is a constant value, is that it's not changing for every given value of x. It's constant. This is the variance of the model. So we have homoscedasticity in the model. Variance is not changing. Homoscedasticity means variance is not changing. Done. Heteroscedasticity is a problem, means variance is changing. We have to fix for it. We have not learned that here. That's a big lesson as well. Okay. Y hat is predicted y. After you estimate a model, you can predict y hat. Okay, I will unmute you in a minute. Okay, so don't type anymore. I'll unmute you in a minute. Okay. So we finished. So that was the multiple linear regression model. I said that's basically something to add to your knowledge. And you have this code here, just, as an example of cleaning your outliers and then getting the scatter plot, for instance. Here I'm getting the residuals. So let me unmute you. Now it's like, after all the noises and things, now I'm like, oh, sorry, I have to. So let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing and try to let you unmute yourself. Okay, now you can unmute yourself.
Hi, we've been trying to ask this so many times, but if you go back up to the first scatter plot,
Yes.
it shows data where you have shoe size 195.
Let me get it here. Yes.
Which isn't realistic, and the height starts at 10 centimeters.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, I think I have to check my data file, my actual Excel file.
No, but then once you go to the next scatter plot, the shoe size drops down. The high shoe size drops down to, I think, 40. I think that you've got, I think it's supposed to be written plot X, Y, X lab, Y lab instead of Y, X, X lab, Y lab.
Ah, you mean the order in the bracket?
Yes.
But I am saying that like this scatter plot, so let me go from there. So the scatter plot, this is 100% confirmed. I can confirm your dependent variable needs to be on the vertical axis. Okay, so I confirm that. But then let's move to what you pointed out. So then, and I have clarified my dependent variable is shoe size. So it's showing it there, and I'm saying the numbers that's showing here and there. Yeah, so I see that. How can we explain that? Is that so you have changed this, you're saying, but again, like I definitely confirm the order of it.
Because also
What
in
is
other
your
lectures,
concern
you
to the
said that it
numbers?
actually is written XY.
So say it again. What should I write here? You mean I type X2 here instead?
Can you share your screen, please? We can't see.
Oh, you can't see my screen. Sorry. Yes. So what should I type here?
So
You mean
you're saying that it should be written with X2 first and then Y.
I see your point, but again, I can't confirm that. In terms of values, I can check, but in terms of order, I can confirm that it should be like the other way around for having the model. I'm talking about regression modeling. So if Y is my dependent variable, for some reason it didn't work. If I don't even know why the other way around, it didn't work anyways.
Because you wrote lowercase x, not uppercase x.
Oh, that's what I did?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong scatter plot. We were talking about the first one.
Oh, okay. So let me change that again. But again, like I get your point, but I do confirm the order of it. So your problem is not the order, right? Your problem is not that.
I think the problem is the labels of the axes, because XLab actually refers to Y in this case because you put it first. So XLab should be shoe size.
Oh, right. So maybe now I see that. No, XLab is horizontal axis.
Yes, but then the highest height that you have there would be 40. Here now the highest height is 195, which makes
the heights. So now I changed it, but still I want
This one makes sense.
This one makes much more sense.
So look at here. Okay, so look at here. X1 is height, and I want it horizontal, and it is height. Oh, so this looks right. So what was the problem?
You were writing Y X1 before instead of X1 Y.
Correct. Thanks for that. So look, I was just concerned about having my X on horizontal axis, which I had it. So I was happy with it. So I was so, blind to see. Sometimes it's like, you're too focused on what you're focused on. So what I wanted to highlight, I wanted to just basically really highlight that horizontal axis is my X. Totally. That That's correct now. Thanks for that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching carefully. So that's it then. And let's make sure the second one is correct then. So in the next one, how come is this, I'm doing it good?
Yeah, I think this is right as well.
Is that what? But that's like a, that looks like a dummy variable now. So I'm saying my X lab is age. I'm happy with that because I want it horizontal, and I'm saying Y lab is shoe size.
Yeah, that's the right data though. It's because the shoe size is in the same, it's spread in the same way as the first plot.
Sure, yeah. Well, thanks for this correction here. Looks way better. Yeah, I think I should change this on the file that is on Canvas as well. I will revise it. I will post it again. So let me note that. Okay, plot. Anything else, guys, you want to point out? Or any questions, just feel free to share on Ed or email me. I have still a few emails. I'm going to answer those emails right now after this class.
Oh,
But, yes?
yeah, it's just a quick question about the revision questions.
Yes.
We make those after we organize our data and whatnot, correct?
Step back, tell me revision questions. Which ones?
As for the project, I'm just looking at the rubric, and
So you're looking at the project. Okay, let me be with you. You're looking at the project.
a research question. Sorry.
Okay, so and you're on the here. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
A research question 1, research question 2. Does that mean like we ask questions depending on data we got? I don't know, like say consumption of fast food. All right, we have a data there, and then research questions like why would it be like why is there an increase or a decrease in consumption of fast food or something like that?
So I hear what you say, but still I'm not sure. Are you talking about this question?
No, go down. Research question 1. Like what do we do there? Research question 1. Is that after we organize our data?
Research question 1, yes. So insightful question, appropriately investigated using numerical and or graphical summaries, which results explained in context. So yeah, definitely. So you basically exactly what it says. You just explain what you have done numerically.
After organizing it. Okay.
After achieving those numbers, then explain it.
And I assume after we ask a question, we come to a conclusion based on the data collected.
Everything is based off the data and variables you have selected.
Yeah, but I'm asking, do we answer our own research question?
Say it one more time. Are you talking about research question 2?
No, do we research question 1 and 2, do we answer our own research question?
You should answer your research question. Sorry, your question, I'm not sure. So the first question.
All right. So say you're collecting data on fast food, just an example.
Yes.
And then at 1 month, like say July, hypothetically, there's like an increase in consumption of fast food. So would research question 1 be like, okay, why is there a large consumption of fast food in July? And then do we answer that? Do we say, oh, it's because a lot of like people of 18 to 25 demographic?
Good question. Yeah, as far as you keep the word counts as well here, so we don't want to explain too far either, but yeah, it's always good to highlight just a little about the background knowledge of that as well, so not just looking at it's increased, why it's increased. That would be interesting, but very short, like very brief.
Okay.
That makes it interesting. That makes it looks nice, and you have that background knowledge of the data basically that you have.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Also, I guess if it's okay if I could share screen, it's just a simple I think I recall you could do this in our
You can
our
you can
module.
you
But-
can make an appointment for that,
Oh,
so I
okay.
can have a look at your thing
Oh, okay.
separately. Is
So
that
I guess
yeah? Email me or
Alright,
make an
alright.
appointment. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But anything else, guys? So stop sending chats, speak about your questions. And what do you mean, does word count include record? So again, word counts are only the words you type. Okay, so guys, if you have any more questions, unmute yourself, ask your questions. Otherwise, thanks for watching carefully. Thanks for the point you pointed out. So yeah, I think everything is clear about the project, but if it's not, still keep asking, and feel free to email me. I'm going to answer some questions right now after this class. Other than that, thanks for waking up, coming here. It's nice to have you and talk to you and answer your questions and learn from you. So yeah, keep in touch and ask your questions on it. I'll go on it and go on email after this class. So I'm going to stop this here because it's meant to be until 9 recording. So it might not include after 1 hour. I'm not 100% sure, but to be safe, I'm going to stop here and I'll answer your questions on emails and on it after this for a few hours. Okay, so I'll stop here. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Yasmin. Thank you. Stop. Thank you.